George, I think there is only one lane to the Republican nomination for president, and Donald Trump's at the head of it, and you need to go right through him and make the case against him. And that's what I intend to do, while also making the case for leadership that doesn't turn its back on Ukraine. For leadership that says, yes, we have to be fiscally responsible again. For leadership that says we should have educational freedom, and that when you make promises as a presidential candidate, you should keep them.
Familiar face, Christie, running for president yet again. He jumped on Good Morning America to talk about his approach. It's going to take a little bit different strategy than last time, which was to kiss Donald Trump's ass. He's now going through Donald Trump. Hey, I think that's actually a good strategy, considering everyone else in the field said, no, thank you, I'm afraid of that guy. Please vote for me anyway. Well, he immediately had a chance to put that strategy to work, as he had a town hall that he went and visited up in Manchester, I believe in New Hampshire. And he went after him based on a bit of substance. Surprise, surprise, here.
The reason this is gonna be different this time, sir, is because at least one of us is gonna call him on the fact that 8 years ago, he stood on the stage in New Hampshire and said he was gonna balance the budget in 4 years. And he left with the biggest deficit of any president in American history. He said he was going to eliminate the national debt in 8 years. He added $3 trillion to the national debt in 4 years.
Well, damn. He's talking about the debt deficit, the promises that Trump made based off of the money that he spends and tax cuts that he said would help regular Americans, when it actually didn't. No, he didn't actually mention the tax cuts, because that should come later. But the thing is there's a bit of a factual approach here with his attacks. Maddening how this works. It's weird. He even went after some of his character flaws, but not through name calling. He went after some of Donald Trump's character flaws to point out how dangerous he could be. There's warnings even. Watch more.
Beware. Beware of the leader in this country who you have handed leadership to, who has never made a mistake, who has never done anything wrong, who when something goes wrong, it's always someone else's fault, and who has never lost. I've lost. You people did that to me in 2016.
And he's funny, Sharon.
Yeah.
So here's Christie. He threw his hat in the ring, and he's gone straight for Donald Trump on actually some issues that probably do make some sense to some of those voters. The one thought I did have before you give me a couple of your thoughts on these first few videos is, if he's coming for these types of things when it comes to the way Trump is fiscally irresponsible, despite all the things he was saying. He was talking about the border wall. He's saying he's gonna make Mexico pay for it. Didn't finish the damn thing, but whatever. All these things he was hitting him on. But the one part that he could maybe shoot himself in the foot with this approach is that, hey, Chris, you're a Republican. These are the policies that all you guys support.
Yeah, and hey, Chris, remember when you were buddied up to him before Jared tripped you? Okay, and you needed surgery and you had to get out of there. Okay, it was COVID and he was, hospitalized for some time. Glad he made it. Yeah. But Christie is built for this, okay? This is his moment. He loves to, let alone punch back, he loves to punch first. He loves to retaliate too. Remember Bridgegate? I mean, this is the guy who can tick off all of the details that Donald Trump doesn't like to talk about. We're waiting on the nickname, but that's only gonna go so far when Donald gives him one, and then we'll see, But will Christie be in a debate, and who will be on the stage with him? Because I don't think it's gonna be Donald Trump. I don't think he's ever gonna get there.
Why is that? I have an idea, but I wanna go see if you can finish that thought.
I don't think he's gonna be on the debate stage because I don't know if he's gonna do well enough early on, but perhaps that's what all of this bluster is about. I don't know if he's gonna be able to raise the money. I don't know if Donald Trump's party is gonna play fair and allow him to be on that stage so long as Donald Trump has the reins. That's the only thing I can, come up with right now, but it could happen. And I would love to see that. I just don't think Donald Trump is gonna allow it.
I mean, round two, everyone likes rematches. There's a few folks in this throwing their hat in the ring that are looking for a rematch. But I was also thinking maybe either one of these guys may not make it to the debate stage. You point out Christie's potential low numbers. Of course, he just jumped in. But also Donald Trump, he's facing a lot of investigations. Now we got some stories about potentially him facing charges with the documents situation. Again, that he's exposed himself further when. So there's like 3 or 4 different investigations that could end very badly, which I think many Republicans are banking on, so they don't have to say anything to or about Donald Trump and alienate that crazy ass base. Which, by the way, one person at this town hall that Christie was speaking at did ask about the potential of Donald Trump finding himself wrapped up in some kind of arrest and conviction. And if Christie would do something about that as president in the favor of Trump. This is where there's a couple holes in Christie's arguments here. Let's go.
If Donald Trump is indicted and you become president, will you pardon him?
Well, I have to tell you the truth. I can't completely answer that until I know what he was charged with and convicted of. Okay, so, but I'm not gonna dodge the answer, okay? But I will tell you as a prosecutor, if I believe someone has gotten a full and fair trial in front of a jury of their peers, and especially someone in public life who committed those crimes when they held a public trust, I can't imagine pardoning them.
There's much more happening, including the response from Trump, Sharon, but really fast, that last point. He said, as a former prosecutor, as long as Donald Trump gets a full and fair trial amongst his peers, he couldn't find himself pardoning him, which leaves room for him to claim, if Donald Trump is tried, convicted, and all this happens, that maybe, the way that Donald Trump likes to say, this is the biggest witch hunt ever. They've have unfair trials. Look at this jury. They're all from wherever, Manhattan, and they all hate me just because I'm Donald Trump. That leaves the door open for Christie to say, yo, I never said I wouldn't do it. Just saying maybe. And now we have some fealty there from Christie. Your last thoughts before we go to Trump's response.
He's very agile. This Christie, you're right, he's left the door open. At the end of the day, he will lick his index finger and see which way the wind blows, whichever way benefits him the most. Is it going to be people who are predominantly on the left who will be furious, okay? If Donald Trump does not go to prison, if they do not get to see a trafficant-like mugshot without a toupee, I don't know, maybe it's real. It could be real, what do I know? But they will be furious. Or will he do the Ford thing and say, we just want to bring the country together and people will have settled enough. They'll settle enough and a conviction will be enough. It'll depend on what's best for who? Not America, Christie.
Ironically, Christie, one of the things he also said there was that anytime you hear Donald Trump talking about how he's gonna fight for you, be assured he's actually fighting for himself. It's the line of many politicians, which I think they'll all do the similar thing.